that I
Hey,
need to
everyone. We are live for real estate tips and tricks. And I have my lovely co-host, Sam Staskal. And our special guest today is Kristen Cantrell. Kristen has actually been working with tons, like when I say tons, put them on a scale, tons, because thousands and thousands of real estate agents for many years in the role of a recruiter. And she's the best one I've ever met, ever.
Thank you.
Besides maybe me. No, really, she's very talented. Her God-given gift is the power of connection. She is a master connector. And today the topic is, we are going to talk about the topic of culture. We're going to dive into the topic of culture. So welcome, Kristen. Thank you for being here today.
Yes, thank you guys for having me.
So give us a little more background than I just did. I just happen to know you.
Yeah. So I have been in real estate for almost 6 years now, more on the, I didn't even have my license for most of it, but I actually have been more in the recruiting role and talking to thousands of agents about their wants, their needs. And that's anything from a brand new agent to agents all over at every brokerage here in Arizona that have come to me and said, why should I go to your brokerage? Or I've gone and seek them to come to ours. So yeah, diving into culture, it was something that I was kind of excited to talk about because culture is probably the number one thing agents want. Like they might have everything, but their office is just kind of like they don't get along with anyone, or they didn't find their tribe, or whatever it is. And that part I think is so important. I think that everybody needs to have that to be successful. So I do hear a lot of people talking about it all the time.
Yeah. You know what? Here's the thing. We have to remember when we're talking about culture. Culture implies that there are people, and we all should know that it really matters who you surround yourself with.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that's something you actually taught me. You hear it all the time. You are who you surround yourself with. And we're told that our whole lives, but for some reason it didn't really sink in with me how important it was until I actually started working with Chuck and Angela about five and a half years ago. And when you actually are intentional about who you do bring into your life, you will see so much amazing stuff happen in your life. Oh, look at that.
Washington, that's cool, right?
Yeah, but you will see such a difference in so many different ways in your life. So, one thing that when I say dive into culture, what I mean by that is you need to see everything that your team or your brokerage has to offer and really try to understand that. And I'll even relate it to okay, if you go to church, you can show up on Sunday and you can listen to church and you can go home and then go about your life. Or you could dive into your church and the community of your church and go to maybe a small group that they have every week, but you're diving into church versus, oh, I'm just going on a Sunday. And I feel the same thing when you're at a company or on a team, are you really involved? Because when you are really involved at a brokerage or a team, you will start to motivate, you'll start to push each other, motivate each other. You'll start to be able to utilize all the things that they're offering way more because you'll know about them. Sometimes I've had people come to me from other brokerages and say, well, my brokerage doesn't offer this. And I know the brokerage does offer that. They just never went and tried to figure out what they offer. So I definitely think just really I actually time block 2 hours every single week to learn more about the company I'm at, because there's so much, and it would be a shame on me if I didn't have that time to be able to learn everything that they're providing for me.
That's a good idea.
We actually have, I think that we all probably have, if we really think about it, good stories about experiences with culture and bad stories. I know I was on the phone with a wonderful real estate agent from Pittsburgh. Her name's Taylor Mackenzie Williams. I hope she's probably not listening, but she was talking to me about her first experience in real estate and how she was in an office where she felt like she was bothering anybody if she had a question. She felt like when you walked down the hall, certain people wouldn't even look you in the face. And she was describing what I would call like a wah, wah, wah culture. Like, how can you thrive in a sales business like real estate when you're surrounded by like, you know, that's like shitty because you know that in real estate it's so hard. You need to feel great with the people you're with. You need to feel like you can go to them and say, I totally made this mistake today. Someone help me, and be okay.
Yeah.
You know, culture is far more than about just feeling good. It's also about the level of success that you can attain because you've found your right culture.
Right.
That's so true. I'll never forget, I worked for GoDaddy, and their culture was the worst culture ever. You think it's like, oh, GoDaddy, like they have ping pong tables and beer, but they don't let you do that when you're in sales. Like you have to be like very much on, like they just never let you do it, or else you can risk your commission basically. But I remember going to lunch every day, and we had 30 minutes. And if you went over your 30 minutes, like again, your commission goes to risk, right? So I remember going into the lunchroom, and I would sit down, and everybody would be talking crap about their position and how much they hated it. And I was like, I got to get out of this place. It's so horrible.
That's how it was with me in the corporate world for almost 20 years. You know, you get that negative mindset because you're surrounded by similar people with the same negative mindset because they all hate their jobs. They all want out of it, you know, but they feel stuck.
Yep.
Yeah. Stuck. You don't have to be stuck. You know what, Kristen and I talked to Sam, Kristen, we are like pinching ourselves, literally, how awesome it is to be surrounded by go-getters, people who are going after it, who encourage you, who tell you like it is when you're being stupid, and encourage you and, you know, come behind you because they want the success for you as much as you want it for yourself.
I have to say, sorry.
Go ahead, Sam.
I was going to say, you know, since I've joined EXP, I've never been around so many people that are so full of energy and wanting you to truly succeed. It's not a competition. It's more, they want to build you up. And that's incredible. I've never been around a company like that with so many people all the same.
Well, and I think and again, that goes back to like the ball's in our court, and like you take advantage of that. I take advantage of that, and Angela does, but like, I can literally say without a shadow of a doubt, anything I need help with to build my business, I can pick up the phone and just call. I mean, tons of people now to where I'd be like, hey, this person's thinking about coming over to EXP and I need help. Because again, I'm on the recruiting role. And even like, I mean, my friend Michelle in Michigan, I think you guys had her on this. She sat on a phone call with me for an hour one Sunday. Yeah. And I mean, how cool is that? And so it's really awesome because it's so true. You hear it all the time, but it is so true. And we took advantage of the fact that that is what EXP is. And we dove into our culture and we're like, all right, you guys say it's about this, let's actually do it. And so I think that that's what's so cool.
Yeah. And I can call anybody I've talked to in EXP, no matter what state they're in. If I've had a question, like, what do you recommend for like a listing presentation or whatever, they're all open to sharing that with you. Where my old brokerage, it wasn't widely shared, like the knowledge, it was more held tight, because you're competition, you're competing with your broker, you're competing with other people in the office for listings. And I don't feel that way now.
My first brokerage, first of all, I made the wrong choice. I know that now, but I was like so excited because I recognized that there were all of these really cool producing realtors all around me. And I was in a really successful office, and nobody would tell me anything. Like they would give me just enough to kind of know that they have something good, but never enough for me to do anything about it. Even when I was in class, like, because where I was at a brokerage, the agents were teaching the classes, much like EXP, because the agents teach the class, the ballers teach the classes at EXP. Here's the difference. Where I was, they were forced to teach. And so And so I would like get to the end of the class. I'm like, wow, it sounds awesome what you do. Why didn't you like give me any hint on how to do it? That's a little like, well, maybe I'm not good enough yet. Maybe when I'm a better producer, or maybe when I know more, or maybe, it was terrible.
Yeah. That's not a fun place to be. I talk to a lot of agents that don't even know anybody in their office. And it's, they're just like, even when I go in, it's like a pin, like you can hear a pin drop. And that's not culture. Like you need that like energy. And, we have a physical office, which is cool, but even experiencing like a high energy virtual office, because that's what we have, has been really, really cool, because who knew that could happen.
What do you think that, Kristen, because you have, like, this is your specialty, like, what do you think are the things that, I know it's the people, but what contributes to a great culture? What are the qualities and characteristics that people should be looking for to help them have the greatest success in real estate?
I think so I feel like it is like an energy thing. It's talking to people that are there, filling their energy, filling their willingness to help, their abundance mindset. You can tell if somebody's full of crap. And so, I mean, okay, I say that, but then I'm like thinking, okay, all those people that are like, oh, I'm going here because of this. I'm like, they actually don't have that. It's all smoke and mirrors for you. But I definitely think it's like talking to people that are actually there and asking the right questions. Because it is definitely like you want to know firsthand, not just from the person selling the brokerage or the team. You want to know from the people that are actually living it. And then maybe even ask if they'll share some inside stuff with you, like we would. I know I share a lot of really good things with agents that are thinking about coming to EXP, so they can see firsthand what it would look like if they were over there.
I've talked to a lot of agents on Zoom and stuff from other brokerages just in connecting with people. And a lot of them feel like they thought they were a good match for the office that they were in, when they first started. And then they realized that their personalities didn't really mix, so it's not fun. And it's not anything that what they thought it was going to be going in, because the first interview, they felt so good about it. They really hit it off, and then after that, it just kind of went downhill, and they're like, what do I do now?
Yep.
That happens a lot. I think just from my experience with Moms in Real Estate and with our other podcasts, there are amazing people all over the place. There are people all over the place at different brokerages that have servants' hearts, that are willing to share, that love pouring into people, that understand it's nothing but a blessing to pour into because you get far more out of it. We just need to gather them all to work with us.
Yeah.
So I guess that I should say, and I'm not kidding, if you're like feeling like that Lone Ranger out there, that's like this giving, open-minded person that just would share anything, like the clothes off your back, but you want to be surrounded with people who would do that as well. Mm-hmm. We're your girls.
And we're fun too.
Yes. Oh, here's one of the girls who lives in Virginia that caught the wave. Caitlin's going to be, Sam, I need you to meet her. She's going to be amazing.
Cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
She just switched or what?
Yeah, she's in Virginia. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So Kristen, any advice or tips or anything that you can leave our audience today?
Yeah, I would say if you're not diving into your culture, first try to. And if it's not what you are looking for, don't be afraid to make a change. I know change is hard, but it's so rewarding when you find the right culture and what it can do. Like we were talking about earlier, like you are who you surround yourself with. Your life will change so much when you are positioned in the right culture.
Yes.
I do have one more question. I take it back. Because you have so many great examples of people that you've seen. Can you give our audience some examples of agents in a culture that didn't suit for them and that before, and agents who get into a culture that suits them the after? Like, what kinds of changes can people expect?
They can we've had a lot of people come over, like a lot of hang your license brokerages. I notice is where people, they don't even the word culture is just so foreign to them. So at first it's a little overwhelming to understand, but when they come over and they're really experiencing the culture, they're just they can't wait to talk about it. They can't wait to, they're implementing all the awesome things in their business. They're feeling more like a business. I know a lot of people are kind of flopping around And what I've noticed is there's a lot more structure in place since they've come over. I don't know. I feel like, did I answer your question?
You did. Yeah.
I have something to add too.
Go
Like
ahead,
I talked to a couple agents here recently that they don't want to switch. They're not exactly happy where they're at, but yet they feel like they've put in all of the marketing and everything to build a name with that company.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of felt the same way at my previous, I did a ton of advertising. I had my signs, I had like signs hung other places to advertise. And the thought of switching brokerages was like, oh my God, I gotta pay for all that stuff again, But I also came to the realization that it doesn't matter. It didn't matter what my brokerage was. It was more about the name for myself. I mean, people want to work with me, not because of who I'm with.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, I mean, just who I'm with is just, the icing on the cake.
Right.
Yeah, it's true. NAR actually does a study, and most people will say they have no clue who the company was that their real estate agent was with.
Yeah.
So people get hung up on that.
That's why it's so important to not get hung up on anything except for, are you as a real estate agent in a thriving environment? Are you in a place where you feel like you can live to your potential? Are you in a place where you feel like you have resources and endless, whatever you need? If you're like, well, I don't want to move because I'm comfortable. I mean, that's like the death wish of a real estate career, or at least an obstacle that makes you stop and have a ceiling in production.
I think you have to ask yourself, are you loving what you do?
Yeah.
If you're not loving it anymore. I mean, everybody got into real estate. When you're first into real estate, you love it. But over time, I think a lot of people, the longer they're in, they kind of get burnt out and they're not loving it anymore, And I think that's a sign that something needs to change so you can go and be happy again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Kristen, unless you have anything else, I'm just so grateful that to have you in my life, you as well, Sam. I love your tips and tricks. I hope people out there will at least be affirmed that they're in this great place and be thankful, because not everyone is, or maybe decide, maybe it's time to consider a change. And even if you want to talk to one of us about, what does that mean? Not maybe even with us,
right.
But you just want to talk it through. You just want to know, what are some of the things that are possible in this industry? We've all seen the industry from different angles and at different views, and we'd be glad to help process, because we want you to love real estate as much as we do.
Yeah,
absolutely.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Don't jump off, you guys. And we will see you in a couple of weeks for the next, whenever it is, next tips and tricks.
Yep.
Tips and tricks. See you guys later.